Aloha and good afternoon. Thanks for watching this extended stream of This Is Now. I'm Dylan Enchetza in the H&N Digital Center. Happening right now, there is a bill signing ceremony at Honolulu Hale with Mayor Blangiardi. He's expected to sign Bill 25, which is relating to an anti-bias and inclusion policy. This applies for employees of the city and county of Honolulu, as well as residents. Now, this bill takes aim at building an environment that embraces diversity and safety for all residents here in the city and county. As you can see, a Hawaiian blessing by Kumu Brad Lum is underway. This is happening right now again at Honolulu Hale. Let's give you guys a closer listen.
Thank you. I'm really happy we did that. Thank you. Well, I got a lot to say on this topic, but we have some people in here that I really want you to hear from. But let me just say, first of all, I wish that Carol Fukunaga was in the room today because this started with Carol in part, if you will. I also wish Mike Formby was here, but he's off today actually helping me do something that I'm not able to do off campus. Because Mike and I spoke a lot about this. You know, when we first came into office, one of the things that we really noticed, for want of a better way to say it, it hit us really hard operationally, was our staffing issues. So we began to get very public about that, about the amount of vacancies that we had, and understanding how that compromised the leadership team that we had brought in and what we needed to do about that. And we've been very focused on staffing as one of our really key agenda items. And so in that regard, as we began to really look at that and the hiring practices of the city, we learned a lot. And one of the things that we learned is that, sort of, for want of a better way to say it, there needed to be documentation about what we believed in, what we stood for, you know, and just to make sure it was absolute, that people understood, you know, with no ambiguity whatsoever, what we strongly believed in the way of inclusion, in the way of fairness, and for want of a better way to say it, just, you know, not that this is my necessary personal belief system per se, but this is just what it is. And so we've been very open about that, and I really like the inclusionary aspects of Bill 25. You know, we've looked at a whole lot of different things here, but we want to make certain that people understood that when you work with the city, everybody knows that they're valued, everybody knows that they're respected, and this is a place for everyone, and that we would have no bias or unfair labor practices or favorable treatment of anybody in any way. That's always been how I've operated. I was really, again, coming into office, really surprised that, and I don't know if Noah, our HR director, is going to talk about this, but I was really surprised at the enormity, if you will, of the staffing challenges we had that hadn't been dealt with in a long time. So this is just part of that as we move forward in really modernizing the city, modernizing our hiring practices, establishing our beliefs, you know, welcoming everybody and making people really make sure that our leadership team especially is in touch with that, and they are, and I'm really proud of them. So I do want to bring up some people to speak to that, but first, I think we have Tyler's going to come up first, right? So as I commented to Tyler today, I really love this quote, but really excited about our two new council members, both Tyler and Matt, that are in here. I think they're going to make a great addition, but I'm so glad we're able to talk today on this particular topic. And I'm just going to close it by saying that as long as I'm in here, I can tell you that I promise you we're not going to have any problems with this bill. You know, that this is going to be part of how we do business, period, at the end of the story, and get that kind of buy-in throughout the entire organization. So with that, I'll introduce Tyler.
Thank you, Mayor. As he alluded to, I want to first acknowledge my predecessor at District 6, Carol Fukunaga, who introduced this bill in 2021. And it started off as a bill that would include, training requirements, anti-bias and anti-discrimination training requirements for our city employees. But it sat on the shelf in 2021, and we dusted it off when I came into office. We also amended the bill to add in different categories. So it wasn't just the categories that are the baseline that you can't discriminate against in hiring or ongoing employment. We specifically added sexual orientation and gender expression, seeing what's going on around this country. We really wanted to affirm that the state of Hawaii, and in particular the city and county of Honolulu, is a safe place to be who you are and to be able to be an employee and to do your best work. And so my message in passing this bill and moving it forward is that for our employees, whatever your background, we see you, we value you, we love you, and we want to make sure that you're able to do the best work that you can on behalf of the people of our city. And so by having an anti-bias and anti-discrimination policy in place and ongoing training, we can help to make that happen so they can serve the people of this island. And I'm glad to have a lot of friends from the LGBTQ plus community here, because it's so important with everything that's going on around our country. We need to be visible. We need to be assertive. We need to be out there, and to be to be who we are. And I think that is another really important message for our community here. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Nola, who added in a lot of really helpful additions. And I know we're going to keep on working on some of these issues later this fall, and continue to make sure that our employees on the city side are supported, whoever they are and whatever their background is.
Thank you, Tyler. Matt. Sure. Thank you.
Mahalo, Mayor and Councilmember Dos Santos, Tam Tyler, for all your work to get us here today. Shepherding it through council and committee, and of course passing it into law. And what a great place to be together, right? Coming off of our celebration last week for Girls' Day with women surfers from the Eddy, first time that they participated. Joining more folks from our district, Joe Wilson, Dean Hamer with North Shore Diversity Collective, Hawaii Health Harm Reduction, doing work across our island, especially Ko'olaloa in our district, District 2, Ravi from Scarlet, Walter from Gay Island Guide. Like I said, our diversity in Hawaii really is our strength. And this bill is important because, one, every day our city employees pour out their hearts for our community. And at the same time, they represent the entire diversity of our community. And so it's important that when they come to work to serve our residents, that they have a place that's safe and welcoming. And with that said, they're also there serving our residents and our entire community. And so it's important that they also are trained up and understand how to show that and share that aloha and respect with everyone from all different backgrounds. And, Tyler touched on just the political climate nationally, and I think it's important to remember that an individual's identity is not a political statement, right? It's who they are. And particular LGBTQ plus community is made up of folks from all different types of backgrounds, different experiences, and really, they exist in this community, we exist in this community, and we're just here, like all of you, like everyone else here, to serve our city and serve the residents of Oahu. So again, mahalo everyone that's here today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. Thank you. Couldn't be any more proud of these guys, these young guys working with, and thank you all for being here today. So as I said earlier, the staffing challenges the city faces right now have been long-standing, and we're going to address that. It may take us the entire time we're in office, and I'm counting on that being the next 6 years, but before we leave, hopefully we'll address what is really several thousand vacancies to the best of our ability, to the extent that we can. And I can get into that whole subject, but I would tell you that it starts with really a reformation, if you will, of our hiring practices throughout our HR department and a whole lot of other things involving our corporate counsel, our budget and fiscal services department. It's a very complicated thing, but we're determined to take it on. This is an excellent cornerstone to have in that, but the person that I asked to help us lead this change, which is a really significant change in how the city has done business, is Nola Miyazaki. I was so proud and pleased when we hired Nola Miyazaki, and initially she took over customer service. In just one short year, did some miraculous work with her deputy, Kim Ashero, who now runs that. But when we were looking at our situation, knowing the leadership we'd have, the need we'd have, the intelligence we would need, and so on and so forth, Nola was the perfect choice. I was so pleased and grateful that she accepted this. It's now been a year, right? You've been doing it. Not easy, but I'm very proud. I'm going to bring up Nola Miyazaki.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for all being here for this really exciting occasion. Of course, the City of Honolulu has always prided ourselves on being an employer that upholds principles of equal opportunity for all, fairness and equity and diversity. And this bill allows us to formalize it even farther into the fabric of the city, across our city. And with our hiring challenges, the diversity and the opportunity to welcome people of all walks throughout the island is really something that we are welcoming and looking forward to. And in particular, the Department of Human Resources is so proud to be able to offer a mandatory training for every single employee every other year for anti-bias training. So we're very excited about that, and we will be launching that in the next couple months. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to sign this bill rather than wait any longer, right? We're going to do that. And look, just simply put, we want the city to be a great place to work. We want people who work here to be very proud to work here and feel really good about it. And as everybody has already said, we want to value and have everybody know how much they're valued. So with that, let's get this thing signed. Really glad you folks came. I didn't know you were coming. This is great. This is great. I don't know if I get down on the knees. That we did better sit in the chair. The optics are so important, you know? Yeah. We met before, but that's not where we're going. Here we go. Just sliding, guys. Thank you. Walter, here you go. Okay, we don't really know. Any questions from anybody, and certainly if anybody here in the audience, or anything that anybody else would like to say? This is kind of back up real fast. What? Is that the podium? Yeah, I'd welcome anybody if they have any comments. It's a good forum, and hopefully.
Once again, that was Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi. He just signed into law Bill 25, which is a measure aimed at expanding inclusion, wiping away any anti-biases or focusing on inclusion for employees of the city and county of Honolulu. At the podium now we have Jack Law, owner of Hula's Bar.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jack Law. I own Hula's Bar and Lay Stand, and we are about ready to celebrate in about a year our 50th anniversary. And it's but one of the excuse me, one of the great things about having Hula's in Honolulu is it's one of the very first few places in the world that Hula's could have started in 1974. And if you remember, it was just a couple of years after Stonewall in New York. And we have to be on guard about what's happening elsewhere, because there are forces out there that are clawing back our equal rights. Honolulu is going forward as this represents, but they're clawing back our rights, and they're starting with, you know, drag queen story hour and all this stuff that's happening, and it's we got to be on guard. And we're lucky we live in Hawaii. We're lucky we live in Honolulu, but we can't forget about our brothers and sisters elsewhere. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jack. Anyone else? Anyone on the shy group? Walter? Come on, Walter. Come on, Walter. Yeah, I've never thrown you. Not maturity in the microphone.
Aloha, I'm Walter Enriquez from Gallon Guide. I want to just thank the mayor and the city council. It's been very refreshing with the progress that we've been making as a city under the new leaderships on both sides of the chamber, basically, in reinforcing the values of our city and making it known to everyone that Honolulu is a safe space and a safe place to live, work, and even visit. And you know, another special thing about Honolulu is we're the only place in the entire country with an actual LGBT monument, and that's Kapai Mahu. So that just goes further to show that our city is really a place of inclusiveness and love and aloha. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Tyler and Matt, for everything that you're doing to help fight for all of our people today.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone? Questions? Anyone? Of me or anybody in here? No? Okay, well, I want to thank the press for being here today, and I hope this is like the top story of the hour. Because this is a good moment in time today. Yes. This is a good moment. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get a picture of it.
Mayor, can we have a picture with you?
Sure, let's do that.
Right
Let's make
now,
sure we take
the
a picture.
mayor is taking photos with the community advocates there. We see a lot of trans advocates, trans rights groups, community health organizations, and of course, Walter Enriquez from Gay Island Guide. They're all there at Honolulu Hale right now, standing alongside Mayor Rick Blangiardi, who again just signed into law Bill 25 relating to an anti-bias and inclusion policy, which will bring up more inclusion training for employees of the city and county of Honolulu. And it's also targeted at just basically saying Honolulu is here to accept all walks of life. And as you heard one of the speakers there mention, a lot is happening across the nation in terms of LGBTQ rights, in terms of who is being targeted. And right now, what I want to do for you is I want to play a story out of Tennessee. We previously aired this earlier this week on This Is Now, but this is going to show the types of legislation that is moving across certain states like Tennessee. So take a listen to this story here.
Kids and adults alike came out for good food and entertainment at the weekly Rainbow Brunch at Atomic Rose on Sunday. Only 3 days after Governor Lee signed a controversial bill into law that bans or restricts drag shows in the state of Tennessee. The governor told Action News 5 on Wednesday the law is meant to protect children.
Sexualized entertainment in front of children and obscenity for children is something that shouldn't happen in this state.
But organizers of Rainbow Brunch in downtown Memphis say it's always family friendly. State Senate Minority Leader Ramesh Akbari says she's been to a few of them herself and never seen anything that she'd deem inappropriate for children.
There are people celebrating their birthdays. There are people just there to have brunch. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, a really fun source of entertainment, a great place for a diverse group of people to gather.
Showrunner of the Sunday tradition here at Atomic Rose, Bella Duvall, says the show will go on, despite and in spite of what she calls an attack of the LGBTQ plus community in Memphis and beyond.
I am here to tell you that if someone attempts to use this law to tell me that I cannot march in the Pride Parade and Festival, I will not comply. If they attempt to tell me that I can no longer welcome children into our all ages performance in this safe space, I will not comply.
And the people that were here on Sunday say they're not giving in or giving up either.
We will be here longer than the state legislature. We will vote you out.
Let's give you another live look here out over beautiful Honolulu. Again, Mayor Rick Blangiardi just signed into law Bill 25, which is being praised by a ton of community LGBTQ plus and trans rights advocates. We will have more on this story coming up on later editions of Hawaii News Now. Now we're going to give you a recap of some of your top stories, including a sentencing that we learned of not too long ago. Let me make sure I have the right video. There we go for you. All right, here we go. We learned earlier this morning that prosecutors announced the sentencing for a man who fired at police in a barricade situation 4 years ago. Now, Wayman Kawa will serve 20 years behind bars for an armed standoff at a residence on Waimanalo Home Road. Now, all of this happened in 2019 September. Officers responded to the hours-long barricade where Kawa fired a shotgun in the direction of police. The 54-year-old has been convicted of 6 felonies related to firearms and assault offenses. Prosecutors also said Kawa previously served another 20-year sentence stemming from an armed standoff with police. That all happening at the same home on Waimanalo Home Road in 1998. We are also tracking several other stories around Hawaii. Yesterday was a big first alert weather day. The big story were the winds, but the only lingering effects right now seem to be high surf. So if you are planning to go out into the ocean, be very careful as the surf is choppy and it is only for the experienced. For more on this, let's turn it over to our Casey Lund.
Well, back here on Oahu's North Shore at Sunset Beach, much of the same that we saw yesterday. Windy conditions and a lot of energy out on the ocean. Take a look at the surf here at Sunset Beach. We talked to people who say they enjoy a break from the heat and the sun once in a while, but this winter has been a little ridiculous, and even surfers say this weather isn't helping them out either.
Yeah, there's nowhere to surf around here.
And that's a shame, because that's just what Jason Hoey came here to do.
Well, we came from California, and it's been freezing there. So now to get here and it's windy every day, it's a little disappointing.
It has been cold, and even on the mainland. I mean, California, look what's happening in California. It's just unheard of. And, you know, especially when they had a dry spell, a long one. But for us, I think it's been pretty windy, pretty cold.
Suka Hale lives just down the road from Sunset.
Not too far from here, about 5 minutes away.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your morning, and how are you enjoying these temperatures, the conditions today?
It's nice, but and it's great for laundry. But for everything else, you got to tie down everything. It's really unusual, I think, for us this time of year.
When do you guys head back to California?
Sunday. I don't know. I think the waves are going to get really good in the next few days, so I'm excited about that.
Well, Jason and his wife might get the nice end to their Hawaii vacation, as we are expecting some better conditions over the weekend. But as you know, winter in Hawaii is unpredictable. For now, we've just got to enjoy the weather that we have. Reporting on Oahu's North Shore, I'm Casey Lund. For now, I'll send things back to you.
Lord, bless Senator McConnell.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is top of mind on Capitol Hill as he remains hospitalized in Washington.
I called the leader this morning and spoke briefly with his staff to extend my prayers and well wishes.
A spokesperson for the Kentucky Republicans says he tripped at a local hotel during a private dinner. He has been admitted to the hospital where he is receiving treatment. Just this week, the 81-year-old condemned Fox News host Tucker Carlson for spinning a false narrative on his TV show of the deadly January 6th riots.
I want to associate myself entirely with the opinion of the chief of the Capitol Police about what happened on January 6th.
McConnell's office has yet to provide additional details on his condition or how severe his injuries might be. With Leader McConnell absent from the Senate, lawmakers here on Capitol Hill have been wishing him well.
Along with our colleagues, I look forward to his speedy return to the United States Senate.
Back in 2019, McConnell took a spill at his Louisville home, fracturing his shoulder. The accident required weeks of recovery and physical therapy. The 81-year-old also had triple heart bypass surgery back in 2003 and is a survivor of childhood polio. This year, he became the longest-serving party leader in U.S. Senate history. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
Back here at home, tense moments at Hanauma Bay this morning when Ocean Safety resuscitated a 76-year-old woman pulled from the water. This was around 8 a.m. Lifeguards spotted the snorkeler in trouble about 10 feet offshore. She was brought back to the beach unresponsive but started breathing on her own again after lifeguards used CPR and a defibrillator. City officials tell us she's a visitor from Arkansas and is now recovering at a hospital.
Police have made an arrest in an attempted murder case from last week. 45-year-old Spider Robert was taken into custody last night in Kalihi. On February 28th, a man believed to be in his 20s suffered critical injuries when he was apparently stabbed. Officers arrested Robert after he was positively identified as the suspect.
The Department of Health has reported a breach of an online system connected to death records. Officials say in late January, state and federal officials were notified of unauthorized activity in the electronic death registry system. An investigation found an account was compromised and about 3,400 death records may have been viewed. Records that contain sensitive information such as Social Security numbers. DOH says the records could not be altered and no death certificates were accessed. The state is in the process of notifying surviving family members if any information was accessed.
We're hearing from a man who was shot in the face by his neighbor during a party in Eva Beach earlier this week. Miraculously, he only required stitches under his eye. Arlen Kawano reports.
He got me right here. The bullet traveled all the way up here. That's why that's where they took out the bullet.
Nazar Pitpit was hosting a party to celebrate his baby Tuesday night. Friends and family were mostly on the lanai of their unit in Eva Beach when Pitpit says his neighbor started setting off fireworks.
I yelled out, "Hey, you cannot be popping fireworks here." And 5 seconds later, he opened the door. He pointed the gun at me. I seen the barrel of the gun.
Pitpit took cover behind furniture, but one bullet, he says a .22 caliber, hit him just under the left eye. His father-in-law was shot in the neck and remains in the intensive care unit. A friend was treated and released after being shot in the ribs. 38-year-old Maynard Milan was arrested at the scene. Honolulu police were still guarding Milan's unit Wednesday as detectives worked to get a warrant. Pitpit says he has exchanged words with Milan in previous months, but it never got violent.
No warnings at all. That's why everybody was shocked. He went like this. He had an automatic rifle, but he had his revolver on his right hand.
So he had two guns?
Yes, two guns.
The baby was not hurt. He was in the arms of his mother, who ran for cover when the gunfire started. Milan was arrested for 3 counts of attempted murder. He has not yet been charged. Reporting at Eva Beach, I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Honolulu police are searching for 2 suspects caught on camera burglarizing a business in Red Hill. It happened around 3 a.m. on Valentine's Day. HPD released a video of the thieves taking merchandise from an unnamed business on YL Place. Both men got away in a silver Nissan Altima with the license plate PPS 618. Anyone with tips is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
President Biden revealed his annual budget plan today, and he wants to cut deficits by $2.9 trillion over the next decade. Along with a deficit reduction, Biden's 10-year budget is focused on taxing the wealthy to help fund programs for the middle class, older adults, and families. It would raise $4.7 trillion from higher taxes, with an additional $800 billion in savings from changes to programs.
You guys keep saying, how are you going to cut the deficit? Well, guess what? If your tax dollars don't have to go out paying all that exorbitant price for Medicare to drug companies, and it's rational, it's going to save $160 billion in tax dollars. My budget expands access to affordable child care for millions of families. And it's going to invest in paid family and medical leave, which all of you fought like hell for, so that the U.S. is no longer the only major economy in the world that doesn't have paid leave.
I want to see a budget and recommendations that are going to support our working men and women, our families, our people. I balanced the state budget for a number of years as the Ways and Means Chair, and I know better than anyone that what we put into our budget, where we put our money, it's a reflection of our priorities. And our priorities have to be our family. It has to be our people right now that are struggling under the weight of so much, whether it's the cost of living, the cost of housing, just getting basic care, health care and mental health services for their families, feeling like their kid's gonna be able to get a job and stay right there in their communities where they grew up in. This is a daily issue. And so for me, it is a budget that reflects people.
Under the current proposal, Biden's package of tax and spending priorities is unlikely to pass the House or Senate, and Republicans have signaled they plan to reject the plan.
The fallout continues after that train derailment in Ohio that led to the release of highly toxic chemicals and a subsequent environmental disaster. Railroad rules are now facing growing scrutiny. Roxana Saberi has more.
Norfolk Southern CEO told senators his company is sorry for last month's toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and pledged $20 million to the region and residents.
That we're going to be there for as long as it takes to help East Palestine thrive and recover.
Norfolk Southern has announced several voluntary safety upgrades, but earlier this month, a bipartisan group of senators unveiled a new rail safety bill.
Will you commit to supporting the Bipartisan Railway Safety Act and help restore the public's trust in your company?
Yes, Senator, there are a number of provisions that we would absolutely support.
Those include tighter standards for tank cars the railroads don't own, expanded hazardous materials training for first responders, and standards for detectors used to spot problems along the track. Republican senators also criticized the responsiveness of the EPA. The agency recently paused the removal of toxic soil to confirm facilities that process the soil are federally compliant.
We expect waste to be moving, perhaps as soon as today, to other facilities.
Several East Palestine residents attended the hearing, including homeowner Aaron Stoffer.
Our property values are at nothing right now. Even if we didn't feel safe and wanted to leave the area, I don't even know how we would do it.
Back in East Palestine, Eric Whiting says he doesn't trust testing that shows no harmful levels of toxins. He still drinks only bottled water. So in the ideal world, you'd want Norfolk Southern to buy you out?
I would love to be bought out, and I would love to walk away.
So far, he has not received an offer. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, East Palestine, Ohio.
Now to a consumer alert. Nearly 2 million popular Yeti coolers and gear cases are being recalled. It's due to the risk of the magnets in the product detaching and the fear of them being swallowed. The specific products are the Yeti Hopper M30 Soft Cooler 1.0 and 2.0, the Hopper M20 Soft Backpack Cooler, and the Sidekick Dry Gear Case. The cases and coolers have magnet-lined closures which can break off. If two or more high-powered magnets are swallowed, they can attract to each other or attach to metal objects and get stuck inside the body. This can cause serious injury or death. There have been about 1,400 reports of the magnet-lined closures degrading or falling, but the good news is there haven't been any reports of injuries or the magnets being swallowed.
The 94-foot yacht that sank off of West Maui will remain on the seafloor for now. The DLNR told Maui News that pulling the 120-ton yacht named Nakoa will be extremely expensive and complicated. Officials also believe that since the yacht is drained of fuel, the environmental impact should be minimal. The state has already spent at least $460,000 to pull Nakoa off the reef at Honolulu Bay, and the state is now trying to recoup that money from the owner. And new images are showing the start of the coral restoration efforts at the bay after the Nakoa grounded parts of the reef to bits. A team from the Maui Ocean Center has already collected more than 100 broken coral fragments. They say the wind and a rising swell made reattaching the corals difficult, so they took the fragments back to their lab. They'll reattach them once the swell passes.
While severe weather conditions atop Mauna Kea have put astronomy research on pause for now. Snow has blanketed the summit for several weeks now. The latest cold front brought forth temperatures in the 20s and winds up to 100 miles per hour. Because of this, the W.M. Keck telescope has been shut down for the past 21 days. That's the longest it's ever been out of use. That's because ice has formed on the observatory's dome.
We can't operate the dome because the ice and snow can fall in and damage things and
poses a risk.
Unfortunately, on Mauna Kea, because of the wind and then the sun, the snow melts and then it gets cold again. And so everything turns to this really hard block of ice.
The icy conditions have also made it extremely dangerous on the road to the summit. There's no timeline right now on when it could reopen. Well, we are just a day away from the 103rd annual Kamehameha School Song Contest, and today our Mahealani Richardson previews the newcomers to the competition, the freshman class.
This year, Kamehameha freshmen will be singing a fun song about Kupa Landing in Ho'okena on Hawaii Island's west side.
It's mainly about how the Paniolo would take the cattle to the Kupa Landing, and they would put on intership on the steamships, and they would take the cattle inter-island to different harbors.
There's also a deeper meaning.
It's really a song about how you love your home, that one place that you long to be.
The song features Hawaiian yodeling with its quick high and low notes. Can you give us a sample of the yodeling?
It'd be like,
Brendan Akawili said he wanted to be a freshman song director to show leadership and make a positive impact.
You see your whole class looking at you, paying attention, and really trusting you to bring them in.
Besides being a song director, he's an athlete and in the band. Akawili says he's grateful for his kumu or teachers and coaches during this busy song contest season.
They're so understanding, and they really give me the chance to be the best director as I can.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, today the students are at the Blaisdell setting up, going through rehearsals for the big night. And for more on this, we're joined now by our Mahealani Richardson. Aloha, Mahea.
Aloha.
So you just came back from the Blaisdell not too long ago. Tell us, what was the atmosphere like over there?
Oh, it was so exciting. So I got to see the junior class. Their color is green, and they look so good in their green palaka. It's all for the Paniolo theme this year. And the interesting thing is, so each section gets to go, the women, the men, and then the co-ed, and then they actually tape record their performances so they can listen to each other, and then they get critiques. In fact, one of the critiques was, okay, ladies, just imagine you were in the middle of Waimea riding your horse, you got your tittabun, and you're wild and free, and so that really helps with the music and the storytelling.
Yeah, that's such a fun time too, and I always say that rehearsal day before song contest is one of the best days on the Kamehameha School's calendar because your entire day is with rehearsals at the Blaisdell. How would you describe the energy of the students, because that really is kind of that first taste of after all the rehearsals on campus, that's your first time with the lights at the arena.
Absolutely. And Mark, these rehearsals last for months.
Oh, yeah.
And so, sometimes people take it seriously and others don't. There's a lot going on as a high schooler, right?
Yeah.
But by the time you get to the Blaisdell, it's serious.
Yes.
This is a competition, and you've got to control all of your nerves and make sure you're focused on your song because you got to bring it on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. And I got to ask, both of you guys are Kamehameha School's alum here. So take us back to your years. I mean, the school rivalry, some people, they brush off the record of winning or losing, and others take it real seriously. So as alum, what's it like to go back and watch
Maybe
this event?
start with Maheo because I think your class was more successful.
Okay, so I will publicly say 1991, we were pink. And our women and co-ed won. The men unfortunately didn't win. We were kind of salty at the boys. We're like, see, they didn't pay attention during rehearsals. But it really was a fun experience. And I can say, Mark, it really shapes you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, class of 2008. I mean, you could talk about the men not winning, okay? But we have the proud distinction of not winning at all during our time, okay? I mean,
You're in that class.
We won a director award and we won a Olelo Hawaii award early on in our careers. But gosh, that was a fun time. I mean, so proud to be part of Song Contest and so many great memories. But I will say this will always stand out and this will always be something that we'll talk about at reunions. When we were seniors, we're thinking, okay, this is our year, all right? This is the year that we're finally going to take it home. All right, we're going to go out. We're going to make up for all the lost years. We were seniors, all right? We got swept by Zach Lum's sophomore class.
Oh, as we all know,
You're
Zachary
famous.
Lum.
Your class was famous.
I guess so, right? We're the opponent in that conversation. But yeah, so proud distinction there.
Shout out to Zach Lum, who is a very active member of the Hawaiian music community today. But
so it makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, but thank you guys so much for sharing your insight on this. We are definitely looking forward to this. Again, the Kamehameha School Song Contest happening this Friday. We're going to be airing it on air and online. Keep an eye out for social media for all the web extras that we'll be putting together.
And Mahea is going to be hosting. It's going to be such a magical night out there. Always a fun time.
Yeah. Shall we sing Imua?
That's right.
Stay tuned for the web extra, guys.
We've got dry and cool conditions that are improving. The conditions are improving, and those winds are coming down. They're moderate speeds today, and a lot of sunshine. But once we get to tomorrow, those winds go variable, 5 to 15 miles per hour. So they go light, and so it's still cool start and still drier conditions Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So your weekend is pretty much set with nice weather. Monday, we're going to have a little bit of moisture, 5 to 15 mile per hour winds. And then as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, we have another cold front that's set to come through the islands that's going to bring some rain. So if you're looking for the weekend, Thursday, today through Sunday, going to be nice weather for you. Hawaii Island, just today, you're going to hang on because you've still got the wind and the rain from that cold front moving through.
Tsunami experts are keeping an eye on what's happening in the North Pacific after a swarm of earthquakes were detected below an Alaskan volcano. The Tanaga volcano is located in the remote Aleutian Islands and hasn't erupted in over a century, but quakes hint at some reawakening. As of now, there is no tsunami threat to Hawaii, and the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center says there is no heightened alert, but they are monitoring the mountain.
Some unexpected guests have been popping up in the Alawai, and it may be a good sign for the canal. A monk seal has recently been seen making itself at home in the notoriously dirty water. A Waikiki couple tells us they've seen the playful animal twice in the past few weeks, recognizing it by an orange tag on its flipper. Most recently, it was spotted swimming Monday near the Macaulay Bridge. More animals are finding a home in the Alawai, according to the Genki Alawai Project. The nonprofit says their Genki balls, made of microorganisms, molasses, soil, and rice bran, are cleaning up the sludge in the water. Well, the undefeated Rainbow Warriors face quite a test this week. The Outrigger Invitational is back in Manoa, and the lineup is jam-packed. Our Kyle Chinen has more.
In its nearly three-decade history, the Outrigger is widely considered the premier event in men's volleyball. And this year, the matchups are looking like the NCAA tournament as the number 1, 2, and 3 teams face off in Manoa.
I couldn't be more excited for this tournament.
After a pandemic pause, the Simplify Arena will be the main stage for some of the country's best men's collegiate volleyball. As the top-ranked Warriors take on number 2 UCLA, number 3 Penn State, and Purdue Fort Wayne in a 3-day round-robin tournament.
It's been many years since we had 1, 2, and 3 in the same tournament, and also Purdue Fort Wayne is a good team. So just getting all that matching together 3 days in a row is going to be huge. I know that all the eyes of volleyball are looking at us right now, so we're just excited.
And the excitement can be felt throughout the entire team.
Promises to be one of the best versions of it. So yeah, I think this is probably the most anticipated weekend in men's volleyball this season.
This tournament will close out UH's highly competitive second half of their non-conference slate. A ramp-up they say is needed ahead of Big West play.
Just test early on in season, and also when it's non-conference play, it's going to help us prepare for those out-of-conference teams before we go into our conference championship and conference season starting after this tournament.
Every week going forward, for the rest of the season are going to be high level, playing some of the best teams in the country, and that starts on Thursday night against Purdue Fort Wayne, and that's our focus now.
The Bows first meet the Mastodons of Purdue Fort Wayne on Thursday, and they're expecting a packed stand all weekend long.
Have everyone show up and show the support, because you can't get better volleyball at this point in the season other than in Hawaii at this moment.
First serve between the Warriors and Mastodons is set for 7 p.m. Kyle Chinen, Hawaii News Now.
Well, this Sunday, all the stars will be out for the 95th edition of the Academy Awards. Nichelle Turner has a look at the biggest night in Hollywood.
Aloha, Mark. I want to focus on two of the night's top prizes, Best Actor and Actress in a Leading Role. And based on this award season's track record, we already have an idea who could walk away with gold.
And the actor goes to Michelle.
Michelle's already won a SAG Award and a Golden Globe for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
I don't think it's hitting me yet.
Will her first Oscar be next? Not if two-time Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett has a say. Her role in Tar also won her a Globe and a BAFTA, but she won't take credit for the win.
In the end, no matter if you have the most lines, it's always an ensemble.
Cate and Michelle are the front runners. Just don't count out a surprise upset for Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans, Andrea Riseborough in To Leslie, or Ana de Armas in Blonde. Now, moving on to the men.
And the actor goes to Brendan Fraser.
Brendan's Hollywood comeback in The Whale already won him the SAG and Critics' Choice Awards.
You know, we jokingly say it's this Renaissance. Can you wrap your head around this, or are you just saying I'm going to float through it?
I still feel like I'm just getting started, to tell you the truth. I'm not done yet.
But he'll have to beat Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin, Paul Mescal in Aftersun, Bill Nighy in Living, and Austin Butler in Elvis, a role that also won him a Globe and a BAFTA.
I think back to that little kid that was, walking around as an extra in TV shows as a kid, and I just think, what would he make of all this? It's special.
And of course, we'll have so much more on the next Entertainment Tonight. I'm Nichelle Turner.
Thank you so much, Nichelle, for that report. Hey, I want to give you guys a heads up. Something is happening coming up here in just a few minutes. In about 10 minutes away, a news conference with Governor Josh Green alongside Public Safety Department officials at 2 o'clock at the Hawaii State Capitol. They will be discussing Operation Paper Shredder. That is their efforts targeted at preventing or addressing contraband in Hawaii prisons. We will be streaming that live here in about 10 minutes or so once they get underway. But be sure to stick with Hawaii News Now on all your digital platforms, whether it be your streaming or your mobile phone or our Facebook, and we will bring that to you live when it happens. So stay tuned, folks. We will be back in about 10 minutes.